Continuing where I left off. How you remind me of your father's speech, the voice of great Anchises, and his look. For I remember how Prince Priam, son of old Laomedon, Salamis bound to the kingdom of Hesiod, his sister, visit the cold Arcadian land. The bloom of youth was on me. I admired the Trojan leaders and admired Priam, but tallest in that company by far your father passed. With a boy's adoration I longed to speak to him, to shake his hand, so I approached it. Then all aglow I led him into Venice town. His parting gifts were a fine quiver full of Lycian arrows, a gold brocaded cloak, and 2 gold bits, those that my palace owns now. Well, then, here is what you ask, my right hand in a pact, and when first light returns to earth tomorrow, I'll send you back with a fresh increment of troops to gladden you and fresh supplies. Now, since you come as friends, be kind enough to join us at our feast, one held each year, and not to be postponed. Become acquainted, even so soon, with how your allies fare. On this he called for dishes and wine cups, already taken off to be brought back, as he himself gave the guests grassy seats, and led Aeneid to the place of honor, a maple chair cushioned with lion skin. Then picked men and the priest who served the altar vied with one another to bring roast meat, to load bread baskets with the gifts of Ceres, milled and baked, and to pour out the wine. Aeneid with his Trojans feasted then on a beef chine and a flesh of sacrifice. When they were fed, their appetites appeased, royal Evander spoke. No empty-headed superstition, blind to the age-old gods, impose this ritual on us, and this feast, this altar to a divine force of will. No Trojan guests, we carry out these rites, renewed each year, as men saved from barbaric dangers in the past. Look, first of all, at this high, overhanging rocky cliff. See how rock masses have been scattered out, leaving a mountain dwelling bare, forsaken, where the crags fell in avalanche. Here was once a cave with depths no ray of sun could reach, where Cacus lived, a bestial form, half man, and the ground reeked forever with fresh blood, while nailed up in vile pride on his cave doors were men's pale faces ghastly in decay. Vulcan had fathered this unholy brute, who as he moved about in mammoth bulk, belched out the poisonous fires of the father. After long prayers, time brought even to us a god's advent and aid. The great avenger, Hercules, appeared, still flushed with pride. In spoils he took when slaughtering Geryon, the triple-bodied giant, and as conqueror he drove the giant bulls this way before him, while the mild herds grazed in our river valley. Cacus blood-thirsty mind, madly aroused to leave no crookedness untried, no crime unventured, turned 4 bulls out of their grounds, 4 heifers too, all of the handsomest, but not to leave their hoof tracks going away. He held their tails and pulled the cattle backward, traces of pasture dust reversed, and hid the stolen beast in the cave's rocky darkness. Caveward, then, no sign would lead a searcher, not when Aphroditon's young heroic son had got his well-fed cattle on the move, out of their pasture, ready to depart. The oxen bellowed at this leave-taking, filling the wood with protest, crying loud to the hills they left. One answer came, one heifer out of the cave death load, out of her prison, foiling Cacus' hopes. For now, indeed, the affront of it set Hercules ablaze with black bile of anger. Taking arms, taking in hand his knotted massy club, he ran for the mountain top. Our people then saw for the first time fear in Cacus' eyes. As faster than the east wind he made off, to reach his cave, and terror winged his feet. He shut himself inside, breaking the chain, wrought there in iron by his father's hand, to keep a boulder hanging. Down it crashed to block the entrance, none too soon. Imagine Hercules of Tyrants in his fury, facing that wall. This way and that he turned it, and stared to measure every access point, and ground his teeth, and in his rage 3 times went over all Mount Avetine, 3 times in vain pitted himself against the rock, and rested 3 times wearied in the valley. But from the ridge over the cave arose a flinty pinnacle, sheer on all sides, a towering home for nest of carrion birds. As to the left this leaned over the river. The hero strained against it from the right, and shook it till the rock-embedded roots were loosened, then torn free. And all at once he heaved it over. At that fall great heaven thundered, river margins leapt apart, and then shock stream and flood surged backward. Then the cavern, Cacus' huge domain, unroofed, laid open to its gloomy death, as though earth by some force cracked open to its death, unlocked it the underworld, and brought to view the ghastly realm the gods hate, the abyss, now visible from above, and ghosts that tremble at the daylight let in. Caught by the light, unlooked it for, and closed in by stone, the giant bellow as never in his life before, while from above with missiles Hercules let fly at him, calling on every mass at hand to make a weapon, raining down dry bowls with boulders like millstones. But then the monster, seeing no escape was left, wonderful to relate, belched from his gullet clouds of smoke, blanketing all the place in blinding haze that took sight from the eyes, and thickened in the cave to smoky night, profound gloomed laced with fire. Hercules' great heart could not abide this trick, but down he plunged headlong in one leap through the flames, where the smoke bellowed thickest, and the cavern seethed in that black cloud. Down there he caught and pinioned Cacus, as the monster belched his fires in vain, fastening on his throat. He choked him till his eyes burst out, his gullet whitened and dried up with loss of blood. Soon the black den was clear, the doors torn off. The stolen cattle looked at their tracks denied, revealed in the light of day, and the misshapen carcass dragged out by the heels. Our people could not be sated by the spectacle, but gazed long at the dreadful eyes, the face, the shaggling bristly chest of the half-beast, his gorged fiery breath put out. Since then this feast is held, the younger men are glad to keep the memory of the day. In chief Potitius, the founder and the house of the Paneri, custodians of rights to Hercules. Here in the grove he placed this altar, ever to be called the greatest by ourselves, and be the greatest. Come then, soldiers, honor that great feat, garland your heads with leaves, hold out your cups, invoke the God we share, and tip your wine most heartily. At this, with popular leaves of shifting color, Herculean shade, he veiled his hair, and the leafy braided wreath hung down as the blessed wine cup filled his hand. Tipping their wine at once over the table, the others made their prayer. Meanwhile, Olympian, heaven downward turned, evening came on, and soon the priests, led by Potitius, after their ancient mode, belted in furs, went round with torches. They renewed the feast, bringing a welcome second course, and heaped the altar tops with dishes. For him at the lit altars came the Salai, all garlanded with poplar, files of dancers, here of the young, there of the elder men, who praised and sung the feats of Hercules. His story, how he grappled monsters first, choking his stepmother's twin snakes, and how, again by might, he ruined tall towns in war, Troy town, and then Atala, and endured 1,000 bitter toils under Eurystheus, doomed to these by Juno's enmity. O thou unconquered one, who slew the senators, Pholus and Hylas, born of cloud, and broke the terror of Crete by thy right hand, and killed the lion under Nemeg's crag. Before thee shook the Stygian lates, the keeper of Orcus shook, Sprow in his gory cave, on bones partly devoured. No monstrous form affrighted thee, even Typhoeus' self, though mountainous in arms. And Lernus Hydra, coiling about thee with a swarm of heads, attack no guileless warrior. Hail to thee, true son of Jove, new glory of the gods, with friendly stride, come, join us, join thy feast. So ran the hymns they sang, and croning all a song of Cacus cave and breath of fire, voices that filled the leafy wood, and rang, and sprang back from the echoing hillsides. When they had carried out the ritual, they turned back to the town, and slow by age the king walked, keeping Aeneid and his son close by his side, with talk of various things, to make the long path easy. Marveling, Aeneid gladly looked all about him, delighted with the setting, asking questions, hearing of earlier men and what they left. Then King Evander, founder, unaware of Rome's great citadel, said, These woodland places once were homes of local fauns and nymphs, together with a race of men that came for tree trunks from hard oak. They had no way of settled life, no arts of life, no skill at yoking oxen, gathering provisions, practicing husbandry, but got their food from oaken boughs and wild game hunted down. In that first time, out Olympian heaven, Saturn came in flight from Jove in arms, an exile from the kingdom lost. He brought these unschooled men together from the hills where they were scattered, gave them laws, and chose the name of Latium from his latency, or safe concealment in this countryside. In his reign were the golden centuries, men tell of still, no peace so peacefully he ruled it, till gradually a meaner tarnished age came on with the fever of war and lust of gain. Then came Ossians and Cycenians, and Saturn's land now often changed her name. And there were kings, one savage and gigantic, Thybris, from whom we afterborn Italians name the river Tiber. The old name Abula was lost. As for myself, in exile from my country, I set out for the sea's end, but fortune that prevails in everything, fate not to be thrown off, arrested me in this land. Solemn warnings came from my mother, from the nymph Carmentis, backed by the god Apollo, to urge me here. Just after this, as he went on, he showed the altar and the gate of the Romans called Carmento, honoring as of old the nymph and prophetess Carmentis, first to sing the glory of Pallanteum and Aeneas' great descendants. Then he showed the wood that Romulus would make a place of refuge. Then the grotto called the Lupercal, under the cold crag, named in Arcadian fashion after Lycaonian Pan. And then as well he showed the sacred wood of Argiletum, Argus depth, and took oath by it, telling of guest, Argus put to death. From there he led to our Tapian site and capital, all golden now, in those days tangled, wild with underbrush, but awesome even then. A strangeness there filled country hearts with dread, and made them shiver at the wood and rock. Some god, he said, it is not sure what god, lives in this grove, this hilltop thick with leaves. Arcadians think they've seen great Jove himself, sometimes with his right hand shaking the Aegis, to darken sky and make the storm clouds rise, towering in turmoil. Here too in these walls, long fallen down, you see what were to towns. Monuments of the ancients. Father Janus founded one stronghold, Saturn the other, named Jaculum and Saturnian. Conversing of such matters, going toward austere Evander's house, they saw his cattle, lowing everywhere in what is now Rome's Forum and her fashionable quarter, Carene. As they came up to the door, Evander said, "In victory, Hercules bent for this lintel, and these royal rooms were grand enough for him. Friend, have the courage to care little for wealth, and shape yourself, you too, to merit Godhead. Do not come disdainfully into our needy home." Even as he spoke, he led under the gabled, narrow roof Aeneas mighty figured, and made him rest where on strewn leaves he spread a Libyan bear skin. Swiftly night came on to fold her dusky wings about the earth. And I'm going to leave it off there. Thank you for watching and viewing, and just if you want to give it a thumbs up, you can. If you want to give it a thumbs down, that's fine. Leave a comment below like always, and view, subscribe, and whatever. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.